What is going on, YouTube fam? Welcome back to The Organized Millennial. Today I am back with another memory plan with me. I'm going to be using this beautiful kit from Two Little Bees. I think it's called like Summer Vibes or something like that. If that's not what it's called, that's what it should be called. And I've actually seen this artwork in several different shops and ended up getting it from Two Little Bees because I just love what she did with the design, and the washi is beautiful, and that rose gold foiling throughout it, it's just amazing. So I'm pretty much in love with this kit and cannot wait to use it. So today I'm going to be planning from July 6th through the 12th, and I'm going to be finishing up my quarantine Q&A, which I'm really excited to do. That was from 2 videos ago, so if you guys missed the first part of my quarantine Q&A, I'll go ahead and link that memory plan with me up in the cards for you guys, so you guys can go and check that out. But the quarantine Q&A was basically a tag that was going around probably like 2 months ago at this point. And my friends over at The Long Run with Joel and Christy did it, and I caught their video and thought it would be a good idea to do the Q&A for my Plan With Me's, because sometimes you just want to switch it up and do Q&As. I find them to be super fun and interesting, and just a break from the normal, sticker descriptions that you usually hear, that I usually do in Plan With Me's. So I am going to start laying down my base. I think I already got my bottom washi down, actually. Let me be ahead this video for once. So always behind with my stickers when I'm going through them in my memory spreads. Let me be ahead in this in this video for once. Anyways, so I'm going to continue to put down my base, so the bottom washi, the sidebar, and then I'll go and put down my date covers and headers. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the quarantine Q&A tag, because I want to make sure I get through it this video. We will not have a third video for this tag. So the next question on the quarantine Q&A is, what is your city like? So my city is pretty quiet anyway. I think there's also a question about how your neighborhood has changed, so I'm just going to kind of double down with this answer and answer both of those. So my city's pretty quiet as it is, and my neighborhood's super quiet, so really not much has changed in that regard. The entire state of Mass does require you to wear a mask if you're out in public. Most stores won't let you in unless you're wearing a mask. Stores, restaurants, any type of public area you can think of will not allow you to come in if you're not wearing a mask. So that's been a thing, but that's a thing in many places. But otherwise, it's been just pretty quiet. It's generally quiet, still quiet. I went for a walk yesterday, actually, around the neighborhood, and there really isn't people out, so I didn't even bring a mask because no one's out. And if there happens to be 1 or 2 people out, I just cross the street to make sure that I'm, socially distancing from them. But there's really not anyone out around my neighborhood. It's super quiet. So I'm glad that has not changed, because I absolutely love it. Of course, right now you can probably hear a motorcycle going by, which defeats the whole, for the last 5 minutes, I'm saying my neighborhood's super quiet, and then the motorcycle goes by. Of course, right? Of course. So anyways, so yeah, it's pretty quiet. Really quick, I just wanted to hop back to the spread. So I'm putting in my date dots in my date covers, and the date dots are actually from my newest addiction. I just happened to stumble upon them and notice they're rose gold. I do not have a lot of foiled anything, let alone rose gold foiled anything. And I was like, oh, this is perfect for this kit. So I'm so glad that I accidentally saw them because I would have just put in my standard date dots, which usually are just black or black and white. So anyways, so that's pretty much what my city and my neighborhood is like. Things really haven't changed in that sense. It's still quiet, and people still kind of stay away from you anyways. It's pretty much the same. The next question is, if you have kids, what is the home daycare situation like? I do not have kids, so I don't have to worry about home daycare situations at all, but I do feel for my colleagues who do and are also working from home, or anyone out there who is literally working from home and running a daycare at the same time, because Lord. And by running a daycare, I just mean taking care of your own kids, not actually running a daycare at home. But if you are, whoa, that's a whole nother level. But you parents who are working from home and taking care of kids, that is just wild. I've seen it in meetings, and one of my coworkers is like, I'm sorry, you guys. And I'm like, don't even apologize. Like, you got to do what you got to do. These are wild times we're living. So kudos to you parents out there who are juggling all of this right now, because that cannot be easy at all. But no, your girl doesn't have kids, so I don't have that situation happening where I am. So the next question is, what are some of the negative things to come from this pandemic? Oh, God. Y'all got time? I mean, of course, the saddest thing about what's been happening with this pandemic is the loss of life that we're seeing, people getting sick. I mean, of course, no one wants the death toll in the US, around the world, people that have gotten sick, people that are immunocompromised, and are fearful for themselves or for elderly parents like me, especially when they don't listen. Fearful for their own health, people who have lost employment, lost income, and are struggling to make ends meet. I mean, those are all probably the biggest negatives that have come from this pandemic. Then there's the less, the disappointing things, but the things that are not life-threatening, like the ones I just mentioned, where, there's canceled plans, nothing really feels the same, missing just human interaction, which for an introvert like me, it's not something I say very often. I like solitude for the most part. I like being alone. I don't really have any issues with being alone for the most part. But I mean, even us introverts want a little human interaction every once in a while. So, of course, that's been tough, milestones that, celebrations that aren't able to happen or have to happen with these guidelines in place. So, all those things are negatives that kind of came from all of this. And it's sad, we're living, this year especially, I feel like we're living in some hard times. Mental health has also been on the rise. People are, again, they're isolated, they're staying away from other people. And a lot of times that lends itself to what's the word I'm looking for, to kind of increase the problems with mental health, when people have a lot of time to kind of ruminate in their own heads, right, about things that may not be working, and the negative talk starts. It's just, that stuff is just terrible. That's the worst part about, those are the worst things I think of this pandemic that we're seeing right now. So it's definitely been a rough year, y'all. It's been a rough one for sure, for the world. So the next question, and I'm glad I'm ending on a more positive note here. What are some of the positive things that came from the pandemic? So, I mean, of course, the negatives that I just mentioned pretty much outweigh all the positives. I mean, when you talk about loss of life and illnesses, by no means do the positive outweigh the negatives that I just chatted about. But some of the positives have been, at least for me, the gift of time. Like, oh my gosh, we live in such a go, go, go world, such a hectic world. I mean, maybe I should say country, because not all countries are like that. But American culture is very much go, go, go all the time. There's not enough hours in the day to do what you need to get done, let alone spend time with people that you love. So this gift of time has really been incredible for me. I don't know if you guys know, but prior to all of this, of course, I was commuting into work, and my commute, I take public transit into the city, and my commute was about an hour and a half each way. So that's just 3 hours of my life gone. And that's 3 hours, 5 days a week. So y'all, that's a lot of time to be chilling on a train. Not to mention the amount of money that goes into the commute. So not only have I been given the gift of time, but I've also been able to save a ton, not having to go back and forth every day. And we won't even talk about what it's done for my sanity, period. Like I tell my coworkers all the time, I'm like, if this was life without the pandemic, I think I'd be living my best life right now, actually. And I know that's not the case for everyone. I know not everyone loves working from home, especially if they're juggling a ton of other responsibilities at the same time. Parents, I see you and I hear you. But for me, it has been just a godsend to have this time and this time to just breathe, like the serenity, this feeling of being able to enjoy the present in the moment. So those are the positives for me that I'm extremely thankful for. And I think it's given everyone a time to slow down and smell the roses, right? Wake up and smell the roses, as they say. And just be more aware of what's happening in your life, but also what's happening in the world. I think that part of the reason that you see so many protests and so much increase in the amount of awareness around social justice issues is because people have time now. Because the truth of the matter is, when you're working 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and you're caring for kids and family, you don't have a lot of time. Even if you wanted to, you don't have a lot of time to think about these things, to take action steps towards, creating a better world, a better neighborhood, community, universe for future generations. And I think that this time has really given people who maybe didn't have the time or weren't paying attention to pay attention. And I think that's been invaluable in a time when we really need people to pay attention on all fronts. So those are the positives for me for sure. I'm so thankful for the time that I have to spend with my family and to just breathe and try to cater a little more to the things that I love to do. I've definitely been able to cater more or dedicate more time to the channel and filming, which has been really great, and planning, obviously, and using stickers and learning a ton about the platform of YouTube and the planning community and the budgeting community, building relationships within those communities. I've met some amazing people virtually through YouTube, through making these videos, who have just been so supportive throughout this journey and so awesome. All of you that watch and leave comments and are on Instagram and like and share and subscribe, all of you have just been so incredibly beneficial to me and to this channel, and just to my mental health in general. I feel like YouTube has really helped in that regard. Being able to distract myself with something that can just help me escape for a little bit has been really incredible. So anyways, that was a very long answer to the question, but that's actually the last question on the quarantine tag. So I can see that I am pretty far along in my spread, so I'm not even going to try to update you guys on the stickers at this point. But I will say that one of a couple things. So one of the highlights in this week was that we finally sat down and saw Hamilton. You guys. Okay. If you've been living under a rock, which is possible, I've done so myself once or twice, and you're not aware, Hamilton is the smash hit Broadway musical that everyone has been trying to get. Well, right now it's better because they're touring, or were touring before, COVID. But prior to them touring, it was really difficult to get a ticket to the show. It was sold out every night. And I remember they would do like, I think Ham for Ham, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's the creator of the show, would do like Ham for Ham, where I think people would win tickets to the show. I'm not exactly sure, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, so of course I was kind of starting to accept the fact that I would never see the show because, one, it's so hard to get a ticket, and even if you do, the tickets are wildly expensive, you guys, like wildly expensive. So I was like just starting to be like, and it's in New York, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get there, I'm gonna have to pay for a hotel, I'm gonna have to do this, do that. So it would just end up being a really expensive trip. And that's not even including, the price of the ticket. So I was talking myself down. I'm like, it's okay, it's fine. You saw Heights, which was his first musical, which I'll talk about in a minute, but it's fine. And then he announced that it was coming to Disney Plus and you can stream it. And Disney Plus is like $7 or $8 or whatever. And I'm like, what? Excuse me, there's a film adaptation of Hamilton coming to Disney Plus. So I was like ready, you guys. I was so excited to watch this, and he, as always, did not disappoint. This musical is freaking amazing. This is coming from someone who hated history as a kid and just now has realized, well, not just now, but the last few years of my adulthood have realized that history is actually important. While I was a kid, I'm like, why do I need to know what happened 75 billion years ago? I hated it so much. But if I had a Hamilton when I was a kid in history class, like a film adaptation to just take me through history for a bit, man, listen. I would have known that thing frontwards and backwards because that's basically what I'm going to be doing with the soundtrack soon. So it's funny because my first introduction to Hamilton was actually the Hamilton mixtape, which was a mixtape of the soundtrack of the show, because there were artists on it that were familiar to me. Like, I think Busta Rhymes is on it, Sia sang a song on it, Usher has a song on it, and I was like, oh, I should check this out. Plus it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, so of course it's probably genius like everything else he does, and love the mixtape. So it's so funny because I'm like watching this musical for the first time and I'm like, oh, this is my jam. So of course my boyfriend was like done with me, but I'm like, listen, I'm having a whole moment and I need you to just let me be. Just let me be great. Just let me be great. So all that to say, you guys should definitely check out Hamilton. One of the reasons that I wanted to see it, because if it was just kind of a musical I had heard about and it wasn't by Lin-Manuel Miranda, I probably would never be interested in seeing it, because again, I had zero interest in history, you guys, zero. But the reason that I wanted to see it is because I am a huge fan of his very first musical. So those of you who are Broadway theater fans or Lin fans know that his very first musical was In the Heights. If you guys have seen the show, let me know down below in the comments. It is the best freaking musical of life. This is coming from someone who hasn't seen all that many musicals, but it doesn't matter. It is so good, you guys. So I highly recommend it. Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say I recommend it because it's not on Broadway anymore. But there is a movie adaptation coming out next year. It was slated to come out this year, but of course got pushed because of freaking Rona ruining my plans again. And so now I have to wait till next year. But you can find the trailer here on YouTube if you just type in the Heights trailer. Y'all, like, I was not ready. I was not ready when I saw this trailer. I lost my damn mind, friends. My whole mind left. Because I was so freaking excited for this movie, because this musical was so life-changing for me in so many ways. So it's a great musical for everyone, but in particular for my Latinos out there, it's really, especially my what do I want to say? My second generation Latinos? No, there's a whole term for that I'm not thinking of. But basically when you kind of grew up, either were born in the U.S. and are, a child of immigrant parents, or if you came when you were very young and were raised in the U.S. So if you identify kind of with both cultures and those identities. Listen, I'm rambling now, but it's amazing. It's really incredible. I don't even know if what I just said makes sense, but it is so freaking good. So go watch the trailer and let me know in the comments what you think. If you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about and you love me a little bit, like just a tiny bit, go search In the Heights movie trailer, I should say, in YouTube. Go watch it and then come back and comment down below and tell me what you think. You guys, I can't wait. I'm hoping that movie theaters are able to open and the movie is able to come out next year like it's slated to do now, because if not, your girl's going to be thoroughly depressed. Just throwing that out there. But all that to say, so my key takeaway points from this whole ramble were: 1, Hamilton's amazing and you should stream it on Disney Plus as soon as possible. 2, go watch the In the Heights movie trailer, and tell me what you think down below in the comments. And 3, Lin-Manuel Miranda is genius. Those are the takeaways. Anyways, you guys, that has been my memory spread and my wild Q&A and praise of Lin-Manuel Miranda and his musicals. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one.